Hey everybody, it's Jalen with Crafty Girl Creations. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday afternoon. It is July. What month am I in? June the 9th. And in this sunny, I don't know, we kind of got a cloud covered today and got a little rain this morning, so I'm hoping we get a little bit more because the gardens need it. But today I thought we would delve into the world of watercolor. It's kind of going to be a little bit between watercolor and, of course, the Stampin' Up! Card making world, because we're going to use products from both. I wanted to first, my favorite ink color is the hydrangea hue. For anybody who hasn't seen these are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why it's showing up backwards, but oh, did I not? I bet I know why. Let's see here if I can fix this real quick. Turn that off. There we go. Now you can read it. See, I have learned some things. You could also be able to tell here real soon that I have fixed our problem where couldn't use my iPhone because I'm going to go ahead and switch to my other screen. And we are going to go here and to my above screen here. And I've got my glass mat and I've got the watercolor. Now that one's showing backwards. That's weird too. So let's see if that one is the same way. Nope, don't want to do that. One second, y'all. There we go. Got me back. Let's get back over here now. Okay, we got that. Oh, now we're doing that. We're just having all kinds of fun. Okay, so we're back to the overhead. And I want to see. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. Got everything reading the way it should. So, I thought we'd make cards using some watercolor technique since today's Technique Tuesday. This is the in color hydrangea hue and the new magnetic opening pads. It just opens that simple. So, with that said, I'm going to put this over here to the side. And what you didn't see me do earlier is I gave this a pretty big squeeze. Now I'm going to lift my camera up just a little bit. Give me just a little bit more room. Thank you. I think that's why we were having the floating camera issue. So we're going to try this a little closer. But I squeezed this front to back just real hard, getting this big blue dot on the top of the case. So that is going to be our watercolor paint, is the water-based ink from Stampin' Up. And I'm using a standard Artist Loft watercolor pad. This one happens to be a 9 by 12 inch, 24 sheet, 140 pound cold press. Cold press. And what that usually means is I'm going to take one of the sheets off and show you up a little up close. It's kind of hard to see, but on here you might see it as we paint on it. It's got like a texture to it, and that usually it bends its weight. It gives its weight for watercolor that way, and you'll see what I mean as we do this. But I'm going to we'll be cutting this card down to an 8.5 by 11, so we can make 2 cards out of it. So we're going to take, this is a 9, so I just need to cut a 1/2 inch off of one side or the other, and we could just come right here. Oops, I'm going to move some things out of the way so I don't get ink everywhere. You've got your 1 inch mark here. So I'm going to come here to the 1/2 inch mark. And that cuts off a 1/2 inch of the watercolor paper. Now we need 11. And this is one thing I really love about the Stampin' Up! Cutter and scorer, is that you can go up to 17 inches. So I'm going to come out here to 11. You won't be able to see that on camera. And now we have a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of watercolor paper. I could have used an 8.5 by 11, but I went ahead and just used what I had. Why did we do that, you say? Because we are going to cut these into 2 cardstock cards once we're done. I'm going to bring up some water, just a little shot glass of water I have, and I've got my standard round brush, and I'm going to take and put that brush. If you've got a watercolor painter, you could use that too. You're going to put that brush or that right into add the water right in there for your watercolor. You want to add a lot of water. Okay. And I'll show you later how we could add more to that. Now to start, we're just going to take and draw some really, let me put that up there, random, it's still doing squirrel things up here. My floating camera. We're working on things, so I'm going to move my hand up here a little bit. And we're just going to draw some round circles. Nothing big, and they don't have to be the same. You don't want them the same color. They don't have to, you want them roughly about the same size. And we get some more. This is so wonderfully therapeutic because watercoloring is just very, it's just so mind-bending. It just is just set your mind at ease. And I'm going to do a color corner one there, like little bubbles. Now, once you get about half of the page full, you want to take and you're going to touch the ink pad, which is up here, and then you're going to just drop a little of that color. See, I've got my ink pad here, and I'm just kind of touching there and just dropping that color in. And look at it spread. I don't know if you could tell that, but it just kind of spreads and gives you a different look to each of these because you're going directly ink into ink, and you got to do it before it's too dry, or you could just add a little bit more so that they're not all the same. So I'm going to go back to our watercolor, and we're just going to kind of do a circle here, one over here, one over here. Maybe I'll put one over here. And you can see I'm making them all different shades. And I'm going to touch back on the ink pad and come back to the lighter one here. Just kind of touch it, give it some extra oomph. I'll show you. If you saw this one here where I touched it, because it had a lot of water in it, and it does it spreads, that's called a bloom in the watercolor world. And maybe I want to do this one a little kind of with like a half moon color to it. Yeah. See, I didn't go back in for a lot of, I need to add some more water over here to my, see what I'm doing now is I'm just taking water and adding it to that ink because we don't have that much to do on this page. I like how that one's turning out. That's kind of cool. And these will all dry just a little, as you see, they're drying just a little darker. So even these little light ones, will be a little different. Okay. So I like that. I think that's good. Now we're going to take it, set that aside to let it dry. And I'm going to get another sheet. And we'll cut it down real quick. Because I'm only, we're going to do probably 2 different sheets. I'm going to kind of show you a couple different ways you could do it, and then I'll show you some other things. I'm not going to do whole sheets. This one I'm just going to do straight across the sheet here. And I'm, first off, because I don't have a lot of ink here, I'm going to take and roll my brush in here. And we're going to add some pigment or ink. You could do this with watercolors, or you could do it with Stampin' Up inks, whichever way tends to work for you. And I'm kind of getting water out of it when I'm doing that to kind of come to the edge. And then we're going to add some more water to it. There, I added a little bit more water to the ink. And we are going to start at this top edge up here, and we're going to do some stripes. Now, I'm going to turn this towards me, and I'll show you why. Because you want to try to keep your stripes straight as you can. This is a homemade project. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And you'll see why once we get it all done. And you're doing them just about the width of, just come back in and start into that, the width of the brush. And we'll start up here. Oops, I start over a little bit further than I wanted, but it's okay. When you see the project done, you'll see what I mean and why it's okay. I just press down a little further and drag a little bit more. Drag a little harder down. And you'll see it's getting lighter. It's okay. Just come back in, and because it's okay, you want them to differ. You do want them to differ. Now, one thing I'm going to do, if I could find the right, I'm sure I won't find the right one. I am going to use the end of my paint pen or my paintbrush, and we're going to take and pick up some ink and drop it directly, because I think that works better. Now, if you have, see, all I'm doing is just picking up some ink here and dropping it in my tray. And then I'm going to add water to it, because I needed a lot more pigment. And I added about, I'd say, 4 big drops. So I'm going to take and add 1 more. Yeah, that's good. And if you look at this hydrangea hue, you could see, let me show you this before we continue, the different shades. Oops. Oh, there we go. I don't know. Can you see the pinks and the blues and all the changes that you're getting there? And that's part of the inks that make up hydrangea hue. It seems like it separates them. It doesn't, but it feels that way. And just bring that stripe down. Come back, and you're going to widen it just a little bit, but not much. And you're just bringing that watercolor down through here. If you take and do this from the back toward yourself, I'll show you something. Like I just did here, started from the other end. If you start down here at the bottom, where I am currently, and you go this direction, you're going to vary your, but you see how it's wiggling more? How it's wiggling side to side? It's something, why it's the way our brains are wired, that if you draw and you start your, whether you're drawing or whether you're watercoloring and you're making lines, you will draw much straighter lines if you start and pull towards you, towards your body. Now me, you guys know I got my wonderful neurological brain and it doesn't like to do anything straight. But I saw this project last week and I was like, this is going to be perfect because it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of watercolor. There's no there is no control. You could sometimes control what the ink does, but I can guarantee you don't always you can't always control it. And see, when these colors dry, they're all going to be different variations of the hydrangea hue. Now this one's going to take just a little bit longer to do, and then we'll cut it down, and then we'll make our 4 cards. Yeah, I know. See, this is such an easy process to get 4 cards out of. And if you buy just 1 pad of paper, you could probably, there's 24 times 2, that's 48 cards you could make out of this in all different colors. I'm doing all one color today because there's just something that's just really beautiful about mono chromatic colors, and that just means single colors. But you see, we're not really getting single colors because we're getting all these other little pinks. And now if you were using acrylic, I'm sorry, not acrylic, you could actually water down acrylic paint and still do this with that too. You know, another good thing, if you get the frames at the dollar store and you're going to do like a faux stained glass or something like that, you could take some of your watercolor or your acrylic brown and mix it with some yellow or whatever and get the color of brown that you want. Let me get this stuff on the side over here. Side over. I've got some little bit of the water, because we'll be able to get 1 or 2 more, I think. But you could take those frames, those light wood colored frames, and just water down your acrylic browns. And literally, I'm just going to grab just a little bit more ink because we're almost done, but we need just a tad more pigment. Um, you could take and water that acrylic down, and then you could take and almost stain it. I was trying to get the word stain out of my brain. And it looks, you just painted it right on, and it looks like you've stained it. And all you did was a little brown. No big deal. Now, when I'm done with that, which I am almost, I think, yeah, there we go. I just got that last, I'm going to rinse my brush, and then I'm going to take and just dry this. If I had more time, I would leave it to dry out, but I want to make sure that I could just put that right back on top of my ink so it doesn't dry out. And then we're going to wipe up my little spots here. And that's why I love this glass mat. And you can get this on Stampin' Up at my store, Stampin' Up or CraftyGirlCreations.stampinup.net. Okay, so let's grab our other one and we'll let this one finish drying just a second. And you can imagine all the different, you could do cheetah, you could do cheetah spots. You could do, with this technique, you could do zebra stripes. You could do a plaid and do it all in one color. And it's really, really cool. So we want 5.5. And this since this is watercolor paper, I'm not going to, I'm only going to do one page at a time cutting it or scoring it. And I want that down because I want to score it. Then I'll show you. When you're scoring it, you're pushing down into a depression. And I always like to say there's a little valley. Now, it's kind of probably, there you can see it, little valley. I always say, you fold the valley, you build the mountain. And that's one of our cards, but we're not done yet. So let's do this one now. 4 1/4. And again, you got that same valley. Fold into the valley, build the mountain. Okay, and this one's fair. This one's dry enough now. So we're going to go ahead again. We're going to do, we want 11 inches. So let's cut off that little bit. Oops, I don't want to score it. I want to cut it. And I'm sure I could take the, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make something with it because I throw nothing away. And then on this direction, we need to cut off just a 1/2 inch. So we want 8 1/2. Okay, see, one of those stripes didn't matter anyway. And now we're going to cut it at 4 1/4, or I'm sorry, 5 1/2. Cut it right down the middle. Oops. Oh, hold on. It didn't quite cut that. Told you it's thick. It'll cut it, but there, I think I got it. Yeah. Okay, so we got a little bit that I'll trim off. I'll get my trimmer and, or see, it's okay on that side. Let me just trim this up a little bit. There we go. That worked out just fine. And then we will score it. And fold that. Okay, I did something up there. 4 1/4. Oh, that's okay. If you do that, and it's fine. You could still. Yeah, I cut that just a little bit off. So we're going to cut off a little tiny bit more on that. I did the same on this one. I think I cut off 1/4 when I should have cut off a 1/2, but now we're good. But now, the thing is you could use these for birthdays. You could use them for absolutely, we're going to make 4 different cards here, I think. I think that's what my plan calls for. Let me go ahead and get these folded down a little bit more. I used my bone folder yesterday and I don't know where I set it. So I'm going to fold these down a little bit more. There we go. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use just a Micron 03 pen that I get from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or you could use the Stampin' Up black and white, the black Stampin' Up or Stampin' Right marker if you have it. And let's say I want to do a happy birthday. I think I like it better on this one. I'll show you why in a second. I have a plan for that one. I'm going to take, and I'm going to, this is, you could make cards with, if you don't have a stamp set. So I'm going to take and write a P and a P in the white. And then we got an H and an A back this direction. And that's just simple. Oh, you guys can't even see that. My bad. So that's just simple dividing it, the math, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. Now, birthday, we've got BIRTH 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we've got 5. So yeah, we're going to have a little bit left over, and let's just make the H in birthday. Birthday. And we got a T, an R, an I, and we'll put 2 of these together. And you could always put the person's name later, but I want to show you another little thing that you can do, and that's with the new shimmer brushes from Stampin' Up. And again, we've got the hydrangea hue, and I'm going to take the little white thing. The reason why I wanted to show you this again, how to prime it, is I forgot to tell you why you want to keep these little white rings, okay? So I'm going to set that ring there, and while we're priming this, and I've got my paper towel over here, oops, there we go, make sure that goes tight. You prime it by starting to press in this little, where this little nubbed section is, and holding it down, and then pressing and holding it down, and pressing and holding it down. It's pushing all the ink down into the barrel, down through the tip to the end. Now this is really stiff to begin with, but the reason why, while we're doing that you want to do that, and you'll start seeing it come, there you go, you start seeing that ink come through there. The reason why you want to save your little white tip in a drawer, I just put it in my side drawer here, is because when you go, like if you go to take your crafts with you and you're going to take these with you, you could always open this back up, put that back in, and then it won't spill out everywhere. And I would suggest putting it in a baggie too. So what I did is I'm just wiping it down here on this. There we go. So now we're primed. I think what I wanted to do with this is just kind of add a little extra texture and flair to the card. And now's when you're going to see, not to all of it, but just to kind of give it a little extra color. We'll do it on just the one. And then you guys can make up your minds which way you want to use it, or whether you want to use it at all. I kind of like it. I think I like it better on the little, like, I'm going to squeeze this out just a little bit more over here, because I'm going to take, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to squeeze out a bunch of it right here. See that? And then I'm going to take and draw just a little circle around the edge and kind of add a little bit extra. And this is shiny. It's got a shimmer in it and a glitter to it. So it's going to give your card just a little bit extra. You could also do, I'm going to use this other, and you've got enough on there that you could tap it and give some extra. See, it actually got on here too, and that just kind of give it a little extra cool stuff, And if you don't want to do it where you're outlining it, you could always do part of it like that and just cover half of it. So half of it's shimmery, the other half isn't. And let's say we want a happy anniversary. I know I want to do that on this card, and I'll show you why I want to do it on this card. I loved the way that this middle line turned out. I want to make sure you guys can see these as I'm doing them without getting in that little blue. Okay, there we go. Let's see. I know the middle is about right here, so we're going to start about right there. This gives the perfect spot for a happy anniversary. Slip that R in there. Happy anniversary. And then we could take this and just kind of add a little extra shadow underneath of it. And if you want, we could add some bling. We could add, let's see, do I have that here? Yes, I do. So let's grab a little bow. As soon as I can find the end of it. Ooh, boo, boo, boo. Finding the end. There we go. I usually have my snips here too. Oh, I know what I got. The razor blades always work. Oh, let me see. I'm sorry, y'all. This is taking so long. I think I got it. There we go. So I'm going to take in, this is the hydrangea hue ribbon for the in colors. I'm just going to make a little bow. Oh, I know where my snips are. I took them to church last week and they're still in my bag out in the other room. And let's see here. So then I could take and put that right here. Oops, you guys can't see that. I'll put that on the bottom there because I can't cut it because my snips are in my bag. But you get the idea. So now we've got a happy birthday, a happy anniversary. And let's say we want to make, we'll finish up working with this one now that I got that. And we're just going to take and add a little squiggly around here. And we'll just take it, we'll dot, or we'll put little stripes on this one. Make him a plaid. And maybe we'll take this one and make him a very happy guy. And then we could simply write, welcome. So we've got a welcome card. And for this one, how about we use the circle and put just a note. Just a note. And I think it needs some more We're going to get some more of this here over here, and we'll add some more splatters. There we go. So these are simple watercolors, and with just 2 sheets of paper, we made 4 cards in 35 minutes. I mean, it's not a hard technique, and I mean, I showed you some different ways you can do this. I'll send all these cards eventually to somebody, or I'll use them all because I think they're all very pretty. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let's see here. I'm going to come back to me. So that's it for today, but I wanted to see what you guys were thinking. If this is something you might consider trying, you could, like I said, you can do you could do lots of different colors. You could stick to 1 or 2. And I'm just going to kind of put these in the view to where you could kind of see all of them, or as much of them as you can. There we go. And you could do different patterns. You can do little like bricks, where you've got like a 2 to 3 inch stripe, and then you look up a little bit, and you do them all in, variated ways. So not all the same way. And it does look like almost like a brick wall, but it makes a really cool, you know, um, card outlook to a card. I'll put these pictures up, but I'll also put pictures up of another couple patterns for you. So I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for spending some time with me. I'd really like it if you become part of my community on Facebook. You could just follow me, and if you're watching on YouTube, consider subscribing and press the bell so that you don't miss my videos. I go live every Tuesday and every Saturday at 2 o'clock, unless there's technical glitches, and sometimes I do run into that. But bear with me, I will always be there. I thank you for letting me. I was ill Saturday, so I did put up a video that we'd done in the past, but I wasn't going to leave you hanging with nothing. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and let's come over here. There we go. And thank you for spending some time with me. Y'all have a great crafty day. Bye, friends.